The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Tennessee, Ms. Blackburn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I yield myself such time as I may consume. Madam Speaker, I come to the floor today in strong support of H.R. 7, the No Taxpayer Funding for Abortion and Abortion Insurance Disclosure Act. This legislation is written with the same simple principle that has been supported on a bipartisan basis for decades. No taxpayer dollars should be spent on abortions and abortion coverage. H.R. 7 establishes a permanent government-wide prohibition on taxpayer subsidies for abortion. This bill is all the more necessary because of the President's health care law and its attack on this long-standing protection of taxpayer dollars. For example, the health care law's premium subsidies can be used to purchase coverage on exchanges that include coverage of abortion. The ACA breaks with the tradition of the Hyde Amendment, which has ensured that federal dollars do not subsidize plans that cover abortion. The bill before us would simply codify the Hyde Amendment language so it applies across the federal government. Consumers should also have the right to know whether the plan they are selecting on an exchange includes abortion coverage. While the ACA included some notification provisions, many of our constituents are simply unable to find out whether a plan is paying for abortions. In fact, this inability to find out whether exchange plans provide abortion coverage seems to extend to the Secretary of Health and Human Services. In October of last year, Secretary Sebelius committed in testimony before the Energy and Commerce Committee to provide the Congress and the American people a full list of exchange plans providing abortion coverage. She was asked again to provide this list in December, yet we are still waiting as the days tick by. We do not have this list. The self-appointed most transparent administration in history is simply either unwilling or unable to comply with this request. This is why we have added provisions of the Abortion Insurance Full Disclosure Act. This would ensure Americans have the right to know whether plans on the exchange are providing abortion coverage. This bill is about protecting taxpayer dollars and protecting life. It also ensures we have at least some transparency under the President's health care law. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman from Tennessee reserves the balance of her time. The gentleman yields back. The gentlewoman from Tennessee is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What an interesting debate we have, and what a difference we have in philosophies as we approach the work of this nation. I have found it really quite curious, as we have some who say we should be talking about how we live better lives and jobs and futures. And you know what, Madam Speaker, as we talk today, what our focus is on is making certain that these precious unborn children do have that right to life, to liberty, to the pursuit of happiness. Yes, indeed. And today, let me just clear up the record for the legislation before us where we talk about no taxpayer funding of abortion. I want to read from the legislation itself, Madam Speaker. Section 304 in Title I. Nothing in this chapter shall be construed as prohibiting any individual, entity, or state or locality from purchasing separate abortion coverage or health benefits coverage that includes abortion, so long as such coverage is paid for entirely using only funds not authorized or appropriated by federal law. Reading directly from the bill and then going to Section 306, nothing in this chapter shall repeal, amend, or have any effect on any other federal law to the extent such law imposes any limitation on the use of funds for abortion or for health benefits coverage that includes coverage of abortion beyond the limitations set forth in this chapter. So, Madam Speaker, may I lay the fears aside of my colleagues? This is an issue that 60% of the American people agree with us on. It is an action that they think is important to take, that it is important for taxpayers to have the assurance from their government that we are not going to have taxpayer funds used for abortions. I yield back the balance of my time.